we are under you. My president of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the president of the TUC, talking about Joe Ajeru and Festus Osifo, and my own classmate, Emmanuel Obuaja, General Secretary. I'm happy to see you. All the leaders of the TUC and the leaders of the NLC, you are welcome. Let me recognize gentlemen of the press. The National Assembly leadership was invited to Lagos today to undertake major inspections of facilities put together by this administration in the last 12 months. The visit was to be a 2-day visit, today and tomorrow, and then on Tuesday we will report progress to members of both chambers. But we received the news yesterday night that Labour, combined Labour, was going on strike. And myself and the Right Honourable Speaker, we conferred and we said, if we even go to Lagos, how are we sure that air traffic controllers will not be on strike? And then we will be stuck in Lagos and we can't even return here. And I do know that Mr. President has set up a very serious committee to negotiate with Labour. The Secretary to Government, I'm sure you have been deeply involved in the negotiations. The Head of Service, you have always been deeply involved. Oh, the Permanent Secretary, General Services, I welcome you also. So the leadership of both chambers decided to postpone the trip and rather attempt to have all of us so we can listen to you. We are not taking over the work of the executive. We are not taking over the work of the TUC. Neither are we taking over the work of the NLC. But we just said we should hear from you. It is very difficult to negotiate for peace in an atmosphere of crisis. If you are on strike, it means you are no longer negotiating. And the Nigerian people are desirous of having a closure to the issue of minimum wage. And the government is very eager to meet the yearnings of the people, at least to a reasonable extent, based on the current economic realities. Hence, there was need for us to call all parties to the table and to hear from you as the People's Parliament. That is what we like to call the 10th National Assembly, the People's Parliament. So we are also on the side of the people. We are on your side for Nigerian Labour Congress and the TUC. And we are also on your side for the government and the executive. And so we are on the side of all Nigerians. And above all, we are also laborers. We are also workers. So what affects you will affect us. And what affects us will affect you. So I welcome you that you honor this invitation of the 10th National Assembly at very short notice. Welcome.
I think the Senate President has already opened the floor. He has made it categorically clear that we are on both sides. We are on the side of government and we are on the side of the people. That is why we call ourselves the People's Parliament. Whatever affects the common man affects us too. And I'm sure some of you recall what I said during the Independence Anniversary lecture. The one thing that this country and this government can do to eliminate corruption in the long run is to embrace living wage. There is no two ways about it. But we should also be mindful that the mistakes of several decades cannot be repaired within one day. It is going to be a gradual process. We have to start somewhere and then agree to a plan of what we can do to reach that level where every Nigerian worker can beat his chest and say, I am earning enough to put food on the table, enough to take care of my basics. So my own take home for all of us here is to say thank you, the organized labor, for even accepting to come to this National Assembly to give Nigerians and the government the hope that all is not lost, that we can be able to continue interacting, we can continue to dialogue on this very important subject matter. I also want to specifically thank the SGF and the honorable ministers who, through out of commitment and patriotism, have seen it fit to also respond to our invitation. That is something that we can take home, that both the government and the organized labor are very keen on getting an agreement that will be lasting to all the two parties. So thank you very much for coming, and we wish ourselves happy deliberation, hoping that at the end of this interaction we should have something tangible and concrete to continue working with. Thank you so much for
all Nigerians. You are brothers, you are sisters, and everybody. You are constituents. So, and that is why we must all reason together to find a solution to it. It is not for any of the leadership here. It has to do with all Nigerians and the way forward on this. So we are quite committed to finding a way forward, finding a living wage, finding a survival wage, and not starvation wage for Nigerians. With that, I and my colleagues, we are committed to that. Thank you very much, sir, for inviting us.
My colleagues, I say good evening to every one of us. As rightly put, I think they said a laborer deserves the rightful wage, and that is the conversation that we have been having for quite some time. We all would quite agree that as a country, it's been very, very difficult and excruciating for Nigerian workers. We all know very well that the value of the naira that is being earned today has been eroded, to a very large extent. Things have been really difficult. In the last 1 year, that difficulty has even further exacerbated. And that is why this year's minimum wage conversation is a bit tough, and it's a bit difficult, because when you are negotiating under a difficult environment, it's always very, very difficult. So this is a special minimum wage negotiations, and for us, it's been the last 3-4 months has been tough, and Nigerians are waiting for us to give them a wage that at least could assist them in paying transportation to work, could feed them, could house them, and clothe them. These are the basic necessities of life. Not even a wage to buy a car or a wage to build a house, but to meet the basic necessity of life. So I thank us all, and I wish us a fruitful deliberation as we go into more private conversations. Thank you so much.
In this case, what is pursuing the TUC is the deadline granted and the possible commencement of strike on is it on Monday? NLC, am I right? Huh? Oh, you are not even sure of the date. The TUC is still running. So that was the reason why we felt we should meet immediately And of course, this is a major step in the right direction, because this shows our patriotic instincts. Like you said, all of us are workers. We also have workers in our homes. Our children are also workers. Whatever agreement we come to will be mutually beneficial to all, the government and the workers. So we are all concerned. We are in the same shoe. We are wearing the same shoe, and we'll be very glad to have something that is workable. But we must also be mindful of collateral damage. I don't want us to, in the course of trying to arrive at a minimum wage, we end up with a lot of serious issues of unemployment. Because as soon as we arrive at a minimum wage, we will expect the private sector to also adhere. And then if they are unable to do so, the next thing will be retrenchment of workers. So we will look at the issues, and as we walk on the tightrope, we must do the balancing act. So at this point, I will plead that the press should give us the opportunity to go into closed session, and thereafter you will be addressed on the outcome of the deliberations. I thank you, however, for coming.